Good morning. Thanks for joining us today to learn about the Shared Work Program. No one was prepared for how COVID 19 would affect every part of our lives. Employers and employees are learning to make it work, and that is why many of you are here with us today. Even in uncertain times, Missouri Department of Labor and Industrial Relations is here to help you scale up or down based on your business needs. Today, we will discuss ways that you can use the Shared Work Program to maintain your workforce and return employees safely to work. Let's get the conversation started with the Department of Labor's Communications Director, Dee Rose. Dee, can you explain the Shared Work Program for our viewers?
Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Dee Rose. I am the Director of Communications for the Missouri Department of Labor. We're glad you were able to join us today. We've had a lot of requests and a lot of employers interested in the Shared Work Program. So by all means, while we're going through this presentation, if you would like to, you can ask questions throughout. We'd be glad to answer them in our chat function. So please feel free to do that. The state of Missouri was one of the first states to launch a shared work program. It's more than 30 years old in the state. Roughly half of the states currently have a program. In some states, they refer to it as a short-time compensation program. When there's a downturn in business, the shared work program serves as an alternative to a layoff. It allows an employer to take the work that is available and divide it among a group of employees. Under the program, affected employees may receive a partial unemployment benefit and their regular company benefits while working reduced hours. The shared work program can be particularly beneficial in returning employees to work during an uncertain time, as it allows employers the flexibility to scale up or scale down the workforce based on changing business needs. It can help return employees safely back to work while social distancing and providing flexible scheduling. The easiest way to explain the program may be to use a simple example. If I'm an employer with 5 employees and my business slows down, I may need to cut my workforce. If I decide I need to cut the workforce 20% because of lack of work, that means I would typically lay off one of those 5 employees to get the 20% cut in my workforce. Once I lay off that employee, I may have to pay their unemployment. The morale of my other employees suffer, not only because their coworkers on layoff, but because they may be worried about their own jobs. Laying off an employee also means I run the risk of losing a skilled worker, and when business picks back up, I have the cost of recruiting, hiring, and training a new employee, which not only costs money, but is a loss in production. Instead, under the shared work program, I can take the same 5 employees and cut their hours each 20%, which gives me my 20% cut in labor costs. If the employees were all 40-hour employees, that would mean that they would each work 32 hours during the week. My employees would receive their regular wages for the 32 hours they worked and 20% of their unemployment for the week to help offset those lost wages. I get to keep my skilled employees and reduce labor costs during the downturn in my business. My employees keep their skill sets sharp by continuing to work, and they have the security of knowing that they will be returning to work again next week. When business picks back up, I have a skilled workforce ready to return. I don't need to waste time and money hiring and training new employees while I'm trying to scale my business back up. Shared work benefits businesses, employees, and local communities. Shared work helps businesses reduce labor costs while retaining skilled employees during downturns or transition periods, giving employers the flexibility they need during uncertain times. Employees retain their employer benefits and they receive a portion of their unemployment while continuing to work. And local communities do not suffer the economic impact of full layoffs while keeping skilled workers local. Shared work becomes a win-win-win for all. Employees that participate in the program must accept all normal work hours offered to them by the employer. They must be eligible for regular unemployment in order to receive shared work unemployment benefits. Under the shared work program, an employee's hours must be cut no more than 40% or no less than 20% to be eligible to receive shared work benefits during the week. That means, as an example, that a 40-hour-a-week employee would need to physically work at least 24 hours during the week and be paid for no more than 32 hours in order to be eligible to receive the partial unemployment benefits for the week. Shared work is an employer program that benefits both the business and the employees, but employers must apply to and be approved for the program. What does it entail for an employer, you may ask? It takes a minimal time to sign up for the annual program. You start the program anytime during the year by submitting a very simple, roughly half-page application online at uinteract.labor.mo.gov. You will be asked to submit information for affected employees so that we can set up an unemployment claim for them. Once approved, you simply submit hours for each of your employees that work reduced hours during the week. Eligible employees would receive corresponding percentage of their unemployment during the week between 20 and 40%. As part of the application process, employers certify that they will retain the regular benefits for those affected employees. For employers with an experience rating, the shared work program is charged against your account at the same rate and in the same manner as regular unemployment. However, there are additional charges that may apply to an employer that does not yet have an experience rating. If you don't have an experience rate, you want to consult with one of our specialists in Employer Accounts Unit to see how shared work will affect your account. Any business may apply for the shared work program. The shared work program, however, cannot be used for seasonal employers to supplement during the off-season. To be eligible, a business must be paid up on all their unemployment taxes and have submitted all their quarterly reports to us. Employers certify that they are participating in the shared work program in lieu of a layoff and that the normal wages and work hours for affected employees are cut between 20 and 40% for the week, for which you're requesting shared work benefit payments. To be eligible, an employer must have at least 3 employees to sign up for the program and must reasonably anticipate that the downturn in business will affect 10% of the affected unit. The employer defines to us what the affected unit is, whether it's 10% or more of a particular line in the factory, 10% or more of all your hourly employees, or even 10% or more of the entire company. The employer also certifies to us that employees that participate in the shared work program will retain all of their regular benefits. An employer may use both shared work and temporary layoffs throughout the year. For any shared work weeks when the hours are reduced 20 to 40%, the employer reports hours to us in order for the affected employees to receive their partial unemployment benefit. For weeks of total layoff, each employee would have to request unemployment benefit payments themselves by logging into their uInteract account. Under shared work, employers report hours worked. Employees do not need to report anything. However, to receive regular unemployment benefits, employees must request payment for any weeks of a total layoff. Employers are not required to reduce hours every week to maintain their standing in the shared work program. They can report as many or as few employees as they need, and the employees' hours can fluctuate from one week to the next and one employee to the next based on business needs. We did a survey of our shared work employers and found that more than 98% of those that use the program would use it again if needed, and that more than 98% also would recommend the program to other employers. That means that businesses that have used the program like the program and see the benefits of using the program. Employers both large and small appreciate the program. It helps them to cut labor costs when needed, helps them to retain their skilled employees, particularly those with specialized skill sets, and keeps our businesses competitive. I'd like you to hear from someone else other than me about the shared work program. So here's Ray McCarty of Associated Industries of Missouri to talk a little bit about the shared work program.
We wanted to talk a little bit about the shared work program. This is a program that's run through the Department of Labor that we have supported since its beginning. And what it does is it allows you as an employer to reduce your workforce hours without losing your qualified employees. You know, before the COVID pandemic hit, we were all having trouble finding qualified employees, and we're having that difficulty even now in this environment. But many of you were going full bore. The economy was booming. You had lots of very qualified people on your staffs, and you wanted to keep those people employed. When we had our artificially induced coma, if you will, of the economy that we had to do because of the pandemic, Now, many of you are trying to recover from that, and you're trying to see, how can you make your income match your outgo, your expenses match your income. And if you're having difficulty in the personal services area, the shared work program can really help you. It can allow you to retain those qualified employees. The way it works is they agree to take a reduced number of hours. They are compensated partially through unemployment payments. And then as a result, you may not have to lay off as many or maybe even any people. If you can get your entire workforce to agree to take reduced hours, then that reduces your costs, but it allows them to still get some more payment than they would if you just reduce the hours through the unemployment benefits. The unemployment benefits impact to your account are the same as if you had people that were laid off, and it's calculated the same, so there's no additional impact to you as an employer. We think it's a really good program and a really strong way for you to keep your qualified employees employed, especially during this time when we're all trying to ramp back up and get our economy back on track.
And here's Dave Overfelt from the Missouri Retailers Association to talk about how shared work works for the retailers in the state.
It's been very difficult for a number of retailers throughout the state, particularly in a lot of rural areas, to get full employment, especially with the holidays coming up that are so important to a retailer's bottom line. 20% of a retailer's whole year could happen in just a month and a half. So the shared work program is a program that retailers could take a look at to make sure that they can get through these times with their employees. There's a couple of ways that a retailer could take advantage of the program. If sales are down, and for a number of sectors, sales are down, they, instead of letting employees off that they know that they're going to need back after we get through this crisis, they could work with the state to come up with a program to possibly stagger and cut some hours for employees and allow them to file and try to make up through that through the UC program, unemployment comp program. Another potential is, I know it's very difficult to get up to full staff. A number of retailers tell me all the time is that I'm having to work my own store. I'm having to go out to the field even, and I cannot get people in because of various factors, be it a sick relative, a child homeschooling because of their school district. It's a myriad of reasons. But with this program, you can try to figure out how to operate, and they can help you keep and retain funds for employees and help give them incentive to come in and work possibly less hours, but still retain their job and not be what you would consider full-time at your retail store.
We are here to help you, your business, your employees, and the local community. For more information about Missouri's Shared Work Program, I invite you to visit our website at sharedwork.mo.gov. There's information there on how to contact us and even to sign up for the program if you'd like. Thank you for joining us today. And by all means, continue to ask questions in the chat. We'd be glad to answer those for you.
Thank you for taking the time to learn about the Shared Work Program. The Missouri Department of Labor is focused on keeping Missouri working better together. Learn more and get signed up today at sharedwork.mo.gov.